Hello and welcome everyone. On behalf of Authors Channel, this is me Devdatta, and with me I have Mr. Varun Pancholi today. Varun holds a bachelor's degree in engineering from MS University Baroda. Additionally, he holds double master's degree in business from Symbiosis Pune and HEC Paris. After working in India and France, Varun currently lives in Bahrain with his wife and two daughters. He loves reading, and this is his first rendezvous with writing. So, when I say this is his first rendezvous with writing, we have Love Bait uh, that Varun made his debut with. It's by the name you might think it's a romance, but it's much more than that. And let's hear the details from the author himself. So, as we have heard in our intro of you, you are a voracious reader, and now you have made your debut. But tell us the time when you first realized that you wanted to be a writer or storyteller.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Yes, I don't think it is like you decide at one point in time that I want to be a writer or I want to be a storyteller. I think it just happens. A good story stuck in my mind, uh,
Mhm,
a concept rather.
mhm,
And then I thought, if I have something in my mind, why don't I kind of write and expand on it?
mhm,
So I think it all started with getting an idea, getting a concept, getting a plot in the mind, and then it takes a bit of time to expand it. But I think that's the starting point when you think, oh, what if something like this happens, or what if something like this happens, and you start and you like your concept, you think, oh wow, this is a nice story if something like this would have happened.
mhm.
And then you kind of start working on it. So I think that's how it started, just a thought. I think that's the starting point.
So, how long has Love Bait in works?
Oh my God, that took a long time actually, because with my job, it's a bit difficult to get time. So I only worked on them during the weekends, and if I was lucky, sometimes on weekdays. So it took me almost 3.5 years to finish this. I started this in 2019, sometime around summer.
Mhm.
So it's been a fairly long journey, but I'm happy that I finished it.
And it's out there in the world now in the hands of readers. So I must
Exactly.
congratulate you because a lot of people think that they can write or think that they have a story to tell, yet somewhere on the way they get stuck and the project never sees the light of the day. But you have stuck to it
Right.
for 3 years. It's not an easy job, and you have gone through it during on the side of your job, full-time job, and through the pandemic situation also, which must have been really tough, right? So what kept
That's
you
true. Yeah.
inspired? What keeps you inspired to write?
I think it is important to, if I can say, to fall in love with your story. You because if the objective is to finish a story, and the focus is on writing a book, and focusing on the commercial launch. I mean, it can get a bit frustrating because the journey is difficult. But if you actually fall in love with the story, you
Mhm,
like it so much that when you are writing it, you leave this world, you are in a different world, you are a part of that story. Then I think it becomes easier to continue, because that's the break you get from your routine life.
mhm,
It takes you to a different place,
mhm.
and you enjoy being there, and that's why you love the journey. You continue with it because that's where you want to be, in a different world. So I think that's important, that I mean, if you're if it's your story, you should obviously be in love with your story, and you should be in it. And then I think if that is there, I think it's
Yeah.
easy to finish it. It's easy to at least continue and reach the end, something that you
Okay.
have in your mind. So
You definitely sound more like a storyteller than a writer because it's the passion is in telling your story more than let's make it a book. So,
Yes,
le-
exactly.
since you are so much in love with your story, what sparked that story? What plot point, or was it a character, or what was it that helped you come up with the idea of the book?
Well, I think the plot was fairly simple in a way. It's a very simple story. I'm not a professional writer. It's a very simple story, very few characters, but it is just that how we were when we were young, we were in college, and how life is. Today we have so much of experience in terms of the realities of life, and then we can mix up those things with the life we have lived as a college student. And we wonder that at that time we were so innocent. There are so many things we didn't wonder, we didn't figure out, okay, things like this can happen in life. And you mix those things and you come up with a plot where someone is still living that college life, innocent, just out of
Mhm,
school, and then there is someone else who has been through a lot of difficulties in
mhm,
his or her life, and they have seen life in a different perspective, and
mhm,
probably they are far more mature or serious or you know into their life than someone who is a fresher in college. They take life so easy, so simple, so relaxed. So it's a
For
mix of
them,
that
college
which
is
which
all
result.
about having fun, the second category.
Exactly, exactly. So they have a very different perspective to college, and then there is a small percentage who have experienced something different in their life, and then it probably is a stepping stone for them. So
Mhm.
that's how this thing worked out in a way.
Okay. So I'm wondering, like, with the pandemic there, and with your full-time job, and you're also a family man. So tell us about your writing process. Like, on one hand, do you have certain blocks of time that you block off on weekends? Or, and also, was it like more plot? Was it more like the plot came to you first and then you developed everything else around it? Or was it the other way around, that you had certain characters like this Pranay in your mind, and then you develop the story around them? Tell us about everything, literally everything.
Well, I think, to be honest, the plot first came in my mind that, as I
Mhm,
said, if what if something like this happens?
mhm,
So it was more about the plot, and then to fit in the plot, you build in the characters.
mhm,
Uh, so it was in that sequence. So the characters were built in a way that they kind of fit into the plot. So you have a character, as you mentioned, Pranay. So he's a happy-go-lucky guy from a fairly rich family, out of school into college, hasn't seen life so much. He's been with friends and all. So he has a different perspective when he joins college, as you rightly mentioned it, about making friends, enjoying your life, having fun. And then there is another set of people who have been in college for a while, the seniors. Some of them are involved in politics. There are some who have had difficult childhood, and they have a different perspective to life. They are undergoing a different experience because of their past. So that's how the characters were built in, more to suit the plot rather than having characters and then building a story around them. So
mhm.
that's how
That's
it
interesting.
was built.
Like, since you had the plot in mind first, and you then brought in characters to tell the story as a tool to tell the story that you had in mind. Uh, I'm wondering whether, the main characters that you have in the story, like Pranay or Amrita or Swati, if the main characters that you had, did you know, like, even before you formed the characters fully, developed them fully, did you know that, okay, no, Pranay has to be like this, or Swati has to have this quality beforehand, that you were absolutely sure about?
Yes, I think that is true. I mean, the personality of the characters was there in the mind, and only then they would fit in that kind of a plot. So I had in my mind, as we have already discussed, Pranay, so many times, that this is how his character has to be, and that's how he will fit into the plot. And the character of Swati has to be like, she is in charge of the elections in the college. She is a very important part of this student union.
Mhm.
She is aggressive go-getter, she runs the show, so she has a certain personality. And then you've mentioned about Amrita, so she has a different personality. She's gone through a difficult childhood, so she has a different personality,
In
and
fact,
that's
I
how
find
they kind of
Swati and
mix.
Amrita to
And
have very contrasting personalities.
yes, indeed, indeed, and that's why they're good friends. Because opposites attract, so
Yeah, they kind of
that's why
complement
they're
each
good
other,
friends.
but at the same time, there are places where you wonder how can these two get along ever.
Yes, that's true.
Both.
And I think that's what is good about friendship. You have friends whom you sometimes just hate, but they are still your very good friends, and they are friends who are always on your side, and always helping you, supporting you. So you
Mhm.
have all kind of friends, but all friends are equally
Equally
fun to be.
important.
So
Yeah, equally
yeah,
important as well. I found that really
exactly.
interesting, the contrasting personalities of the characters that you have in your book. I found that really interesting because, of course, as you have mentioned, we have all lived through that phase of our life. And indeed, like if I put down the book and think about my own life experience in college, yes, we had a Pranay, we had a Amrita, we had a Swati, we had a Nikhil. It's very relatable that way. And also the friendships, this is like that person, half the time making me want to bang my head on the wall, yet I would do anything for that person. Those kind of friendships, it just takes you back to college days. Absolutely
College,
lovely. I
yes,
think the characters are the strength of the story here.
thanks.
So, I'm wondering, like you have been talking, we have been like from the very beginning, you keep telling us that you want to tell a story, you want to tell a story, you have the plot in your mind. How would it be? So, I'm wondering, like when you were writing the story, were there certain scenes in the book that when once you finished and you were like, this came out exactly as I had thought in my mind? What are your favorite scenes? If without giving a
I think
spoiler for those who have not read yet.
yes, yes, indeed, indeed. No, so I think one of the interesting points which I really liked, and I loved writing, was uh, if you read the prologue as well. There's a time when Pranay decides to jump into the girls' hostel in the middle of the night. So at that point in time, it is, today we think as an adult, as 40 years old, that it's something so stupid. Why should someone do that? But at that point in time, if you live what Pranay is doing, there is so much going on in his mind. He is, I must say, confused in a way. Should I do it? Should I not? The brain says, no, this is too stupid. Jumping into a girls' college in the middle of the night, it can get very messy. But then the emotions are so strong. The drive of those emotions is so strong that your brain is just left aside. And so it's a mix of logical thinking, emotions, and you want to do it, but your brain says, don't be stupid. And then you're like, no, this is something I just don't want to let it go. I want to do this. I
Mhm.
want to do this. So I liked that part, that scene, that Pranay goes through, and he's finally deciding, should I take that step or not? And finally, I think most of the times we give into our emotions, and that's what he did at the end of the push and pull, if I can say.
I
So
think we have
that's
all gone through that stage, most of us at least, where now, like you said, at 40, we look back and think, was I really that stupid to do that thing?
exactly.
Right, we have all
Yeah,
had
the
that
same.
those experiences during high school and college. I would also include high school because yes, I was that person in
Yeah.
high school who would actually jump out of school boundaries.
Yes, indeed.
So
And
now
today
looking
we
back,
would
we are
think,
like, I was like, oh my God. In fact, I got together with one of my friends and we were discussing like, I can't believe we did those things back then. So,
exactly,
so
exactly.
like yeah, exactly. So that's the flavor of the book. I feel like it really takes you back to your college days, or if you were naughty enough like me, back to your high school as well. To kind of
True.
say, oh, okay, yeah, I know I did that too. Not maybe not the
Exactly,
same thing, but something similar where you were
but
like now you are
exactly
thinking,
something.
yeah, and it
Exactly.
makes you relive your college days. Yeah. So
Sure.
another
Sure.
question that I want to ask, since we are getting into this characters and all, have you written yourself into the story? Did, if not completely, did some of the characters inherit your quirks in the story?
Probably as an amateur writer, if I can say, I think it is bound to happen because uh, you would you would write something that you would have either gone through or you would have, there are, I think, two, three parts to it. One is something that you really are,
Mhm,
and then there is something which is aspirational. That's
mhm,
something you wanted to do, but you couldn't do,
mhm,
so you probably the both the aspects come into the characters. I think, there are things that you could naturally do, and there are things that you couldn't naturally do, but you would have probably aspired or you would have appreciated, "Okay, yeah, how did you do this,
mhm.
like, I mean, taking the same example, jumping into the girls hostel, probably I couldn't do it. I was always a bit more inclined towards logical thinking kind of a thing, and then
But I'm
so
sure
I
you
would be
had
like, how
friends
can
you
you do
had to
something
pull
like
back. I'm sure you had
that?
friends you
Yes,
had to pull
exactly.
back from doing that, right? We
Yes,
all had.
exactly.
So in my group, there were other
Exactly.
people who were like you who used to pull me back, but yeah, not succeed always. So I was
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Sometimes you give in to your friends, and sometimes your friends give in to you. They say,
yeah.
okay, fine. If you're saying I'll not do it, but then for the rest of your life, they'll keep blaming you. It was because of you. Otherwise, I would have done that.
Yeah, but then that's what I was wondering because it's so relatable. I kept wondering whether how much of it you have lived yourself in during your college days. And maybe some of your friends
No,
also made into the book. Do you want to disclose that?
no, I wouldn't want to take any names or something. But indeed, I mean, as you rightly said, this is so much a part of college life that it's there is nothing which is probably oh, this hardly happens or this never happens. It's
Hmm.
everything is so normal that everyone probably can relate to it, that yes, this happened in my hostel. You would know someone, boys jumping in, or boys falling in love with their seniors, or getting involved in politics and being on the wrong side, and so it is so much everyone's college life in a way.
Hmm. So now I'm wondering, as we are discussing this, now I'm wondering whether, uh, you kept the whole story and the characters so relatable so that the surprise really shocks the readers.
Well, I hope so. I hope so because the twist which happens is something which generally doesn't happen. So
Mhm.
that's
Because
the
that
that's
that
the
was that's
interesting part.
very jarring, especially compared to the rest of the book, or especially before that. At least first 50% of it is completely like normal, and then there comes this twist that is like, what now, what is going on? So I'm wondering whether you
Yes,
have
yes.
done that intentionally to keep the balance, that people are relaxed. Yeah, I know this. I know where this is going. I've lived through it, and then comes this uh bait.
Yes, I think a lot of it, yeah, I think a lot of it is on purpose, because in the first part, I mean, some of my friends who've been reading, they've called me after reading 100 pages and they're like, is something going to happen? I said, you need to finish the book. It's a bit too early to give up on the book at 100 pages. It's a book, so something will definitely happen. So indeed, in fact, the first 100, pages is like, a very normal college love story, and then it
And you
suddenly
it
takes a turn,
it lulls you
unexpected.
into thinking that you know what's happening. It's just another college
Yes,
story,
exactly.
and yeah, this is little bit politics involved, and okay, boys and girls around. You think you know what's going to happen, and then right.
Suddenly, yes, exactly.
and
So
and
that
it's
was
not just
that
a
was done
simple
on
twist
purpose,
also.
I'd say.
It's a very uh I don't know if I'm giving away too much, but it's like from regular to it goes to XXXL. Certainly the size of the twist, it's like you're getting what I'm saying, right? It's
Yes,
like aha, theek hai, and then bam.
yes, indeed.
So I'm
And then it
wondering whether you
suddenly,
did
yeah,
that
suddenly goes wrong.
intentionally to like really jar the readers.
Yes, I think that was done on purpose. That was definitely on purpose. That it 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 moves very slowly in first
Yeah,
half of the
yeah.
book, and then it suddenly changes its course to kind of fast forward 3x 4x, as you said. So that was definitely done on purpose. Yeah,
Okay.
I hope it
So,
works. I hope people don't give up after reading 100 pages and that this is going nowhere.
if you are watching this and if you are planning to pick up Love Bait, remember, stay patient. There's something going to happen very soon. Okay.
Yes.
So now, if we were going to turn this into a TV series, web series, or a movie, uh, who would your dream cast be? You never know.
Well,
Nowadays, lots of the web
it's
series
highly
are based on
aspirational.
books.
Yeah, it's highly aspirational. Never thought about it, but why not? I mean, if we are creating fiction, I mean,
Yeah,
we should not limit our imagination. So
yeah.
indeed, but to be honest with you, I am a bit out of sync with the latest trends and
No,
the
no, no,
latest
no. You
lines.
can
But
tell the actors that you remember,
I,
and if they're older, we can just imagine the younger versions of them.
I'm to be honest, it's hard for me to imagine. Probably I'll leave it to my daughters, to figure out who will fit the role. They've read the book, so I'm sure they will be able to help me with their favorite characters and what will fit in, who will fit in. But
Okay.
I don't
So,
know. It will be hard for me to.
but seriously, not a single, not even for Pranay.
I don't know. I'll probably take a lot of.
Okay, so what we can do is you can talk to
Lessons.
your daughters, and then we can come back and do another interview. Just talk about the cast.
Y- Yes, exactly. We can dedicate one full session on that. That who will fit which character well and why.
Yeah.
How his
So
personality
I'll
will
hold
fit.
you to that, and I'll get author's channel to do that live. So now tell us about,
Sure.
we have talked about you being a voracious reader, me being another bookworm, as you can see. Let's talk about your favorite authors, the books that have influenced you as a reader and now as a writer.
I wouldn't say I'm a voracious reader. I like to read. I take time out to read regularly. But to be honest, last few years I have not read much because I've been spending time trying to finish what I've
Mhm.
been writing. And again, I don't think I have any favorite writers as such. I kind of scroll through what's running these days and try to pick up couple of books. I end up reading one. And surprisingly, actually, I realized this very recently, that my bent of mind is more towards, thriller, suspense, murder mysteries, those kind of things, where something is happening, there is something to discover, unfold. But some of the books that I've read recently, which I've liked, are actually none of these. For example, I remember I read Book Thief a couple of years ago. I mean, definitely
It's
before
one of my
2 years. I,
favorites.
I like that book. Indeed. So I like that book. It's definitely not in the mystery category, but I really enjoyed reading that book. Then I think
I'm
the other
willing to bet
one,
you like
uh,
locked room mysteries.
I have never checked that now.
Yes, it's like
But
where there it doesn't need to be a locked room. It can also be an isolated island, like Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I'm
okay,
willing to bet
yes.
you'll love them because I think I'm feeling that vibe that we like similar books just by Book Thief. If you love Book
Then
Thief,
I'll definitely try this. I'll definitely try this.
okay. So tell us what's next. When is your next book coming out? And tell us that you're not going to take 3 years for it.
Well, I think, as I said, probably I can write if I get a good plot again in my mind. So I am thinking about a plot. I don't know if I get something now that I have some experience. Probably I can be quicker in finishing the book. Hopefully, it shouldn't take 3 years, but I am waiting for that spark.
So in the meantime, do read Locked Room Mysteries, and maybe next time you'll give us
Indeed.
a full-blown mystery.
Indeed. Yes. I think that is definitely the idea. This time I would like to add more characters and build it a bit more complex, muddled up kind of a story. So, indeed, let's see. We are all hopeful.
It was a complete pleasure talking to you today, Varun, and let's hope we can get together again and talk more about the Dreamcast and more books. And thank you for your
Indeed.
time. And everybody watching, please go and check out Love Bait by Varun Pancholi. It's available on all major merchant sites, online and offline. Grab your copy today and tell us what you think about it. And do leave a review on Amazon. It helps the authors, it helps us also find new books. Thank you, everybody.
Indeed. And thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.